Hawaii is the only U.S. state made up entirely of islands. It is the birthplace of surfing and home of one of the most active volcanoes in the world. It is also one of the top bucket list destinations for many travelers. In our new series, we set off to explore why the beautiful islands of Maui and the Big Island of Hawaii are so popular. Hi, we are Hana and Jeremy, and this is the Savory Suitcase. In this episode, we're kicking off our new Hawaii series with a 5-day itinerary on the island of Maui. If you're new here, we are a travel couple, sharing our journey to visit all 50 states. Based in Florida, our trip to Hawaii took us about 12 hours total. We had a short layover in Las Vegas, and with the time change, we landed in Hawaii around 2 p.m. local time.
The Kahului Airport is located on the windward side, which means that it receives more rain than the leeward side, so we were greeted by a midday rain shower. On the Hawaiian Islands, windward refers to the side of an island that faces the prevailing trade winds, typically on the northeastern or eastern side. Leeward refers to the side that is sheltered from those winds, usually on the southwestern or western side. Windward areas tend to be wetter and lusher, while leeward areas are drier and often have a different, more arid landscape. The first place we stopped on our way to our accommodations for the trip was a local grocery store called Foodland. When we travel, we love stopping at local grocery stores. It's kind of like a little peek into what the locals are eating. Foodland is also known for their very affordable and wide range of poke options.
We booked 4 nights at the Iao Valley Inn, a locally owned bed and breakfast with an additional 1-bedroom cottage separate from the main house. Accommodations in Hawaii can be very expensive, and staying at one of the major beach resorts wasn't really what we were looking for this part of the trip. So we were glad to find something a little more off the beaten path. The host welcomed us with fresh fruit, cream for the coffee, and a loaf of banana bread. Behind the cottage was a very peaceful backyard with some patio furniture and a hot tub, as well as a view of the surrounding valley.
And as an extra bonus, they also have a super sweet German Shepherd living here named Kahu. And as an extra bonus, the inn sits on the Iao stream and sits right by a waterfall which can be heard from the cottage. The next day got started at about 4 a.m. to drive up to Haleakalā for sunrise. If you are coming from the East Coast, doing this on the first day of your trip should be pretty easy, as you'll still be adjusting to the time, and 4 a.m. will feel more like 10 a.m. For the drive, we had an audio guide that gave us both directions as well as historical information and details about the national park. The audio guide we use is called Action Tour Guide, but there are lots of options for similar tours available.
Sunrise is a very popular time to visit Haleakalā, and it does require a reservation with the National Park Service. There are only 150 reservations available. They release 100 60 days before, and then 50 on the day before. It is only $1 to make the sunrise reservation, but admission to the national park is $30 and gives you admission for up to 3 days. We have an America the Beautiful Pass, which covers our admission for a full year to any national parks that participate. The drive to the top takes about an hour and a half. We thought we'd left in plenty of time, but by the time we got there, the parking lot was basically already full. Watching the sunrise above the clouds felt very surreal. It's one of those moments that really stays with you.
Haleakalā National Park's history began in 1916 as a part of Hawaii National Park, encompassing the dormant Haleakalā volcano and the Kipahulu area on the island of Maui. In 1961, it became a separate national park. The area is also an international biosphere reserve. Haleakalā, meaning House of the Sun in Hawaiian, holds a profound spiritual significance for the native Hawaiian people. The mountain, particularly its summit, is a sacred site where ancient priests and leaders received spiritual wisdom, practiced meditation, and performed ceremonies for over 1,000 years. According to legend, Haleakalā is also the place where the demigod Maui lassoed the sun, making the days longer.
One of the popular things to do in Maui is to join a tour that takes you by bus to the top for sunrise, and then you ride a bicycle back down to the bottom. But based on this time lapse of our drive down the mountain, that does not seem like an adventure that I am ready for. For breakfast, we stopped by a local place named Kula Bistro. Our goal for this trip was to visit only locally owned restaurants and to make sure that our tourism dollars went directly back into the communities that we were visiting. We ordered a loco moco and a banana nut pancake. We are planning to make a restaurant recommendations video that will be coming out soon of the best eats that we had in Hawaii, but this one definitely made the list. The next stop of our trip was a tour at the Maui Gold Pineapple Company. This tour walked us through the whole process of growing to processing.
We'll fill the back of that truck, those crates full of pineapple, guys. Each crate holds right around 1,000 pineapples. Pineapple, guys. So 10,000 pounds of pineapple per truckload, give or take right around 2,000 pineapples.
Hawaii used to be the world's top producer and exporter of pineapple, but by the early 2000s, the major farms for Dole and Del Monte closed their operations in Hawaii, and industry shifted its focus to local and niche markets.
Right here, so we're at pineapple off the conveyor belt, and we're going to pack them in the box, you guys. We are going to start with what we call fives here, guys. Those are the biggest ones we sell. We're going to go all the way down.
After visiting the processing facility, we boarded a bus to the pineapple fields. The farm has over 1,300 acres of pineapple. They plant and harvest all year round, so they always have fresh pineapples available.
The W is actually pronounced like a V in the Hawaiian language, guys. You really want to emphasize that V. The two I's being together, they're actually pronounced like an E, so it's Hawaii. Hawaii is the proper pronunciation of the word. If you look under this shipping your pineapple gold. Okay, so I showed you guys the EMI earlier, right? We don't use the EMI. That's being used for the Central Valley. We plant pineapples every week so we can harvest every week, but we're only using about half of the farm.
Our tour guide shared with us some information about the Hawaiian language and a ton of history about Maui. He was very knowledgeable about not only Hawaii, but pineapples too.
So this is not a pineapple, it's just a flower. And we actually force our pineapples of flowers by using potassium ethylene, which is the same kind of gas.
Pineapples do take about 18 months to grow, so it's a crop that requires a lot of patience.
So it's like that, same thing, yep, same thing, yep.
The days were designed for crowns. All right, crowns are straight up and down. You can drop a crown in a tube and get planted, no problem. The problem with slips is it has that angle to it. So, and some of no two slips are the same size. Some are bigger, some have more angles, some have less. So.
Because of the germination process that they use, all pineapples have to be planted by hand. They know when they're ready to harvest because the pineapples become that quintessential golden color. The pineapples also smell very sweet, and they have the smallest amount of give when you squeeze them.
We'll juice them individually. We'll put the juice in a refractometer, and it's going to measure the total dissolved solid in the juice and let us know how sweet the pineapple is. Clusters of berries. They really are cluster berries, guys. If I was to just lightly skim the top of this.
The Maui Gold pineapples are considered some of the sweetest pineapples in the world, and that's probably because they have 3 times the sugar of a pineapple that you and I might buy at a grocery store. If you've never been gnawing on a pineapple in upcountry Maui, you really should give it a try. We each got a pineapple to take home, and we've kept the crowns. So if you're watching this video in November of 2026, our pineapples should be just about ready to enjoy. After the tour, we stopped by Ululani's Shave Ice, a very popular spot around the islands. This treat is rooted in cultural traditions of Japanese immigrants who arrived in Hawaii to work on the sugar plantations.
The next day, we allowed ourselves to sleep in just a little later and headed out by 6 a.m. instead of 4 a.m. We booked a morning snorkel with the Pride of Maui, a local tour that offers snorkeling at the Molokini Crater. Molokini is a crescent-shaped, partially submerged volcanic crater which forms a small protected inlet in the Haleakalā Channel. This is considered one of the best snorkeling spots in Hawaii due to the incredible marine biodiversity found within its waters. The crater's isolated location, combined with the protective nature of its submerged crescent shape, has created an ideal environment for marine life to flourish.
I think that's the crater. I think you can literally see it.
The boat ride to the crater takes less than an hour, and during that time they get you set up with snorkels, masks, and fins, all included in the price of the tour.
The crater wall rises about 160 feet from the ocean water, and it also serves as a wildlife sanctuary for migratory birds. There are more than 250 species of flourishing marine life that lives here, including fish and coral. The water here is also very clear, making the visibility up to 150 feet on an average day. This was maybe some of the clearest water that we've ever snorkeled in.
We saw quite a few different fish, including a yellow tang, a Moorish idol, and some different species of triggerfish, which is the state fish of Hawaii, natively named Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Apua'a.
We had a little over an hour to snorkel at the crater, and then it was time to get back on the boat. Because the wind was very minimal for the day, we got the chance to cruise around the backside of the crater, seeing even more of the birds calling this area home. The snorkel cruise also included a lunch, which was a couple of options from the grill. We both picked a burger, and honestly, for a hamburger that was cooked on the back of a snorkel boat, it was pretty good.
The snorkel tour continues with another stop at Maluaka Beach, also known as Turtle Town. As a contrast to Molokini, the surf was much choppier here, and there were not nearly as many fish here. We also didn't get to see any turtles, but The coral here are closer to the surface, so it was a chance to get a better look at all of the different kinds that grow here. The tour lasted about 5 hours, and after all that swimming and even with them serving us lunch, we still decided it was time for a food stop on the way back to our cottage. Maui has a thriving food truck scene, including a few different lots set up with multiple trucks like a food court. We stopped by the one across from the Costco. Apparently all you have to say is the Costco food trucks, and anybody on the island knows exactly what you're talking about.
This was where we first tried a malasada, which is a Portuguese donut without a hole, sometimes filled with a jam or cream. The Portuguese influence in Hawaii has made malasadas one of the most popular desserts on the island, right in line with the shave ice. This stand is cash only, but most of the other trucks in the area did take a credit card. After an afternoon nap, we made it to the beach for sunset and touched Hawaiian sand for the first time after being in Hawaii for 48 hours already. It might be surprising for two people who live in Florida, who cruise very often, and who planned a trip to Hawaii that we're not overly enthusiastic beach people. But Hawaii is so much more than just the beach, and we probably could have gone the whole trip without setting foot on the sand and been completely satisfied. But it's still an amazing place to take in sunset.
Day 3 started with the typical pilgrimage to a local coffee shop. Many places in Hawaii offer Kona coffee, but it's still very expensive even on the island. We visited a few coffee farms on the Big Island, so check that out on our next video for more about Kona coffee. We ordered macadamia nut lattes almost exclusively while we were there, as it's one of the most common flavors and we've been making them at home since we got back. Highly recommend. We also sampled our first banana bread. Many more of those to come on the road to Hana.
The next stop was the Iao Valley State Monument. This area is operated by Hawaii State Parks, and it does require a timed reservation. We made ours about a month before the trip. The Iao Valley is rich in cultural and spiritual values and is the site of the Battle of Kipaniwa, where the forces of Kamehameha I conquered the Maui Army in 1970. The park has a short, paved half-mile walk up to the viewpoint of Kokamiaku, also known as the Iao Needle. The formation was created from erosion and stands over 1,200 feet from the valley floor. Unlike the formations we saw in Monument Valley, the Iao Needle is covered in lush greenery. Close by, and oftentimes missed by visitors to the Iao Monument, is Kapanaway Park. This park has multiple displays that honor the cultures that contributed to make up modern Maui. Among the structures are an early Hawaiian home known as a hale, and a later adopted model, the New England-style salt box.
There is also a Korean garden representing the Korean immigrants who came to Hawaii in the early 1900s. Portuguese immigrants came to Hawaii in the 1870s seeking work in the sugarcane industry, bringing with them their food, like malasadas and the very popular Portuguese sausage. The first Chinese immigrants arrived in Hawaii in 1778 during Captain James Cook's expedition, and later came for the sugarcane industry as well. We did miss the Japanese pagoda, but it's worth mentioning that Japanese immigrants also had a significant impact on Hawaii's culture through food, religion, and lifestyle, with much influence still remaining today. While we were on the Big Island, we visited a historic Japanese-owned coffee farm. The first group of Filipinos arrived in Hawaii in 1906, with a group of 15 men arriving in Honolulu. These individuals, known as cicadas or contract laborers, were recruited to work on sugar plantations.
In our pursuit to eat at local places, we asked one of the locals at the coffee shop where we went this morning where we should go for lunch, and she recommended Wiakapu on 30. A lot of locals were wrapping up their lunch in order to get back to work, so we knew that this was probably the right choice. We weren't sure exactly what to order, and the guy in front of us in line heard our confusion and made an excellent recommendation for us to get the pork lau lau. He was absolutely right. We also picked up a sweet potato and hapia pie. The food was definitely the highlight of the place, but the views from the outdoor dining area did come in a close second. The pork is wrapped in taro leaves and is steamed for hours, served with a white rice and a side of lomi lomi salmon. The Humane Society in Maui has a Beach Buddies program where you can take a local shelter dog out for a day of fun.
So for our afternoon adventure, we picked up a little friend to take along with us. They provide a backpack with water, a towel, toys, and treats for the day as well. We were paired with Kyle, a 4-year-old Hound Great Dane mix. Kyle was a little unsure about riding in the car at first, but after just a few minutes, he seemed to warm up to the idea. We took him to the beach and let him play in the water. All of Maui's beaches are dog-friendly as long as the dog is on a leash. We also brought him to a local dog-friendly coffee shop. The Humane Society provided us a list of dog-friendly places to bring him. As of the time of editing, Kyle is still available for adoption. The Humane Society is still feeling the impacts of the fires in 2023 and needs all of the support that they can get to help dogs on the island find great homes. We are planning to donate all proceeds from this video back to the Humane Society, so thanks for sticking around and watching.
That evening, we got a little bit fancy for a nice meal and headed out for sunset at Ho'okopa Beach, which sits at the starting point of the road to Hana. This beach is known for big waves and strong winds, making it perfect for surfing and windsurfing. It just so happens that right before sunset is also the best time to see green turtles on the beach. There are 5 species of turtles that live around Hawaii, with green sea turtles being the most common. These turtles come to the shore to regulate their temperatures and to rest, especially after long migrations or foraging trips. It is also speculated that there is a social component to the time that they spend on shore, so consider this like a local hangout.
Sea turtles are also very protected in Hawaii. The Endangered Species Act and Hawaii state law make it illegal to touch, harass, or otherwise disturb them. For our fancy dinner, we made reservations at Mama's Fish House, a wildly popular restaurant with reservations that are quite hard to come by. Mama's Fish House is somewhat of a local icon. The restaurant is open air and sits on a beautiful stretch of beach. The menu is very Hawaii focused with traditional dishes and local seafood.
We of course got traditional Mai Tais, which Jeremy thought was perfect. I thought it was just a little bit strong.
They also offer poi, a traditional Hawaiian staple food that has been a significant part of Hawaiian culture and diet for centuries. General consensus seems to be, and we agree, that it's a pretty expensive meal, but it certainly was worth it.
On day 5, we checked out of our cottage and said goodbye to Kahu and started our journey to the road to Hana. We used action tour guides for this trip as well. But the trip to Hana is a pretty intense journey, so we're going to go ahead and make a separate video with that day all on its own. But this is a few of the highlights. Our pro tip is to make the journey one way to spend the night in Hana so that you don't have to worry about making the drive back during the same day. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel so that we can help you plan out your next adventure.